say good evening to all of you, and to thank you for the kind of work you are doing and the challenges that we have had to go through the past few days. I myself, I call it a baptismal of fire, because if you're in my shoes, you really appreciate what we're going through. You see, first of all, let me admit that even though the party was aware that MPP will always resort to violence when we go to by-election, the scale and the combination of state security forces against a party has never happened in the history of Ghana. I have gone to by-elections. You know, most of you. It is always either MPP group against NDC group slugging it out, and then the police showing a little bias here and there. But for you to see the level of deployment, the sheer numbers, the firepower, and of course the fact that these were not trained security personnel. We picked intelligence very late the previous night when they went and recruited people from the organizer came, rushed to Sanko where we were training our people to come and tell us, me and Jay Blanson and others, the kind of weapon that we distributed, what happened in Agogoji, the people they picked them there. So we pick all these things. And we have some of our colleagues and people there. And the plan they were hatching, and the extent to which they wanted to go. If you have all this information, we thought that if they would be unleashed violence, it would be late in the evening when they realize they are not winning and they want to use. In fact, they did everything, including some printed ballot boxes, which were going to be put in military peacekeeper and others in the heat of the day. When they come and they want to, as if they want to restore violence, they take it and then we had all those information. So we thought that, look, this thing will go late. So let's watch how it begins. Some of our security guys, I don't want to mention them, I mean, they tried to put some teams together. But when the thing started, the rate at which it came. In fact, if you were with me, when I went to Lagos Hospital and saw the blood flow and the life-threatening injuries, and I was getting call from Bamaleshi, from Abelempe, from East Legon, it's like coordinated. So when I saw this thing and the calls were coming, I thought that, look, this thing was coordinated, and if we are not careful, the level of casualties we cannot handle. So I spoke with one or two of our intelligence couples, and they said, oh, let's wait till about 9:30 and see how the situation. When I got to the PC, the house was, it was chaotic. The blood flow, the everything. The PC himself, before I could get him, I had to go through the hall, go to another hall, go to the third place. And the whole place was shook. And the cry of our party people was that, look, we can't do this election because we don't want to die. And there was pressure on me. So I called here, and unfortunately, around the same time, Honorable came with me. So we had to do some consultation with the candidates and then weigh the options and see. We were not in the state of preparedness to call for even reinforcement from anywhere, because as Captain Hassan Juma said, how do you call people with bare hands to go and face this force? Any intelligent person will say that, let's weigh the option. This is a by-election. When we even win the seat, it doesn't make any. Why should they slaughter people? Because the tendency was that hawks were being unleashed into the constituency. And their determination is to mow them down, as many as possible, to let the hawks and others know that, look, you are nothing. So why can't we prevent that? At the same time, there was mixed communication about the number of deaths. And it was all over the place that already 2 people were dead. as a party leader, how do I encourage people to go and face this fire and die? So I had no option. That is why I was tactical in saying that we are withdrawing our party leader, because you see, we are not in charge of the elections. We can't stop the election. People who are leaving their homes to go and vote, I don't have control over them. I can't ask them not to go. But I had control over people that I have deployed as party people, and they were under attack. And so the best I can do is that, and they were in various places. I did not know what was happening to them. And so once I have a fair idea of what was happening, to save them, the best thing is to record them and bring them to a center where we can either brief them and decide whether to go back or not to go back. So, my brothers and sisters, it was a very, very difficult decision. Again, at the same time, we also thought that if we continue this election to the end and we win, the violent aspect will be swept aside. If we also lose, we have gone through the full hog. So the discussion will be normal electoral violence. So tactical withdrawal was to then place the issue in proper context so that every focus will be on what the government will do. And that is what we have largely succeeded in achieving. Because you see, for the first time, UNB, they have never waded into this issue. EU delegation had called one of our senior comrades and said that, look, they are going to rent 10 of us. And I want to assure you that as long as I remain the leader of the party, my approach to elections and security has completely changed from what happened. Wow. And we need to marshal all the human and material resources to move it. Yesterday I was speaking with him and I said that, look, we have to get to a driver, probably one of our retired security people who can still drive and at the same time give you protection. Some covert and overt operations. We'll go after them. But we'll not go after them face to face. We'll have to use tactical approaches to make life very uncomfortable for some of them. We will target some people and we will let the people know that their life is in danger. And then once they know their life is in danger, they themselves be careful. As for that one, I want to assure you that we will go all out. Ensure that, as Mama said, when it comes to this game, because we are better than them, and we will not. When we went to help, you say, oh, this one, it is you, it is NPP, NDC, your usual tax, and then I said, look, madam, do you know what you are talking about? As a commissioner, do you know what you are talking about? So I think we need to take care to the cleaners. And the civil society organization and religious organization. Exactly. Especially the Peace Council chair. Exactly. For the first time, I will endorse insulting.
We have already started.
Once we are focusing our attention on the Ampofo, and in fact, I think that this whole thing, we should not focus too much on the IGP. In fact, a police woman called me and said, as for them, they regard the IGP as a civilian because the man is retired. and for them, he's a civilian. He's just a caretaker because he has retired. And once you are retired as an IGP, and that this came from a policewoman. And so, even though we bashed the IGP, I think that the whole thing was political. So we must situate the communication on the president, who is the commander-in-chief and who controls the security agencies, and how he has shown his true colors as a very violent person, because you trace the antecedent gradually from when he became a flag bearer and what he did to his own chairman and others, and created a culture of silence and beat people up and did all sorts of things and have brought it into governance. And so we need to expose him so that tomorrow, as my brother said, if NDC decides that we are also organizing ourselves, which of course we are going to organize and organize well. Then, gradually we have shifted the attention onto the people. In fact, when people even hear of violence in by-election, they'll be thinking about visible forces and then we gradually, doing our own thing. So this is the briefing that I want to and say that it is the party itself is also going to come out of a number of policy initiatives. First, we are going to set up a security and intelligence unit within the party and appoint a national coordinator, regional coordinator, and constituency coordinators. We'll be picking some of our intelligent people, BNN people, national security people, and others, and then so that we can read and plan effectively. Because you see, military people are military people. The appreciation of security issues goes beyond what we can go. See? So when we came and Colonel Sachijima was briefing FEC, and he was saying that as far as he's concerned, he will never order people without weapons to go and face people. So those of them, these are people who advise us that look, if we decide, our boys came here, they were so angry, they wanted to move into the street. What are you going to do? We are just going to endanger the lives of people. The second thing also is that after this intelligence unit, the ballot bomb protection unit, which we decided to set up, I think that this same committee will help us to see how to, put it up. And again, we are also going to look at how to provide security for our leading members and our leading communicators. That is also going to be looked at very critically. It all requires a lot of resources. For me, I believe that one of the challenges this government is vehemently opposed to it. But when who has started reflecting on the whole process, there are people who come here to initially we were angry with you. But I mean, you have Chief Afonso in our meeting saying, Chief, thank you. I say, man, he say, if you are not taking this decision, I don't know how my men would have gone back to Tamale. The issue is that they had brought the Kandahar boys. And the Kandahar boys know our boys from Tamale. So it was a targeted, it was a targeted attack. So once they spot you, they invite them. So they would have done it. And then around that time, my people were so defenseless. And they have packed themselves in pickups. And so cordon off and harming them was very, very easy. And they had not anticipated all these things coming. So it hasn't been easy. But for me, how we take the battle from here is most critical. It's a question of mind game that we have come to play. We need, I was here because I thought that I should come and lift your spirit up and let you know that it was not a cowardice decision at all. It was a strategic decision which will benefit us. My worry a little was the fact that in situations like this, you may disagree with the decision, but you don't have to challenge leadership decision. And in the middle of this, some people decided you can response. For me, it was the most unfortunate thing that happened. Because when our people are being mowed down and they are being killed, and leadership has given a certain direction, you need to. There was pressure on me from some angles that I should change the position. I said, I will never change the position. I spoke with a lot of people and I said, this is a decision that I believe is in the interest of the party. Until here, I have had calls from senior police officers who say that, look, we salute you. And that this is the time that we are going to unveil the real faces. The police are not happy. Yes. Because they have been trained. They have a reputation to protect. You are going to give people on the streets. You put police uniform on them and you are giving the police bad name. So there are several police people who are not happy. And you see, it is also shifting the support of the police back to us. Because in 2016, the police were against us. So that is that aspect. The other aspect is the EC check. You see, we must wage a relentless war on this EC check. I mean, she doesn't want to see my face because when he sees me, but I have told her, look at the statement that she made. First, our parliamentary candidate, the security and future survival of our country is at stake. So first of all, our people have identified a number of them. Yes. I don't know whether you have heard, but somebody has told me that one of them is dead in Boku. Yes. Yeah, one of them is dead in Boku today. Whether heart attack or whatever. You see, 3 days ago and yesterday, those who were living in Niba and Omobi, nobody has slept in his house. So you see that now we have a tactical advantage. Nobody has slept in his house. They even went to attack parents. So imams have to come in and plead for their parents because one of the things, people also start capturing your mothers and fathers and keeping them hostage until you show yourself out. So we need to go back quickly on the drawing board and strategize. But the communication is very critical. Good afternoon.
And thanks for attending this briefing, which we are holding in Koforidua this afternoon. This afternoon, there are 2 quick briefs that I have for you. The first is that the government of Ghana will this week formally put the diplomatic community on notice that the former president peddled some falsehoods when he met with them last week, and they need to take note of what those falsehoods are. The second is that on Tuesday, the 19th of February 2019, 6 assemblies that were recently created will formally be inaugurated. 6 assemblies, and I'll outline which assemblies these are. The government of Ghana will this week put the diplomatic community in Ghana on formal notice that former President John Dramani Mahama peddled several falsehoods and sought to undermine the authority of the state in his engagement with them on Wednesday, 13 February 2019. Now, in the said interaction, Mr. Mahama showed them 2 sets of videos. One, which is a video from a legitimate media house, the content of which is the subject matter of an ongoing Presidential Commission of Inquiry, and a second set of videos, which comprises 2 videos, which he claimed was evidence of members of an MPP vigilante group at a funeral of the former MP for Ayawaso West Wogon, and earlier providing security for the MPP parliamentary candidate in that by-election. The government of Ghana will be serving notice to the members of the diplomatic community that two of these 3 videos and the narratives that the former president gave to them on the said videos are palpably false and designed to tarnish Ghana's hard-won reputation in the eyes of the international community. Now, here are the specifics. The first video, which purports to show some security persons singing and dancing at a funeral, which security persons the former president told them were MPP vigilante men in song and dance at the funeral of the former Ayawaso West Wogon MP, the Honorable Chamate Jaku, and which security persons he claimed were responsible for the Ayawaso West Wogon incident at the residence of the NDC's parliamentary candidate is false. Indeed, that video of policemen singing and dancing is a video of actual policemen who had attended a funeral of a fellow police officer, and it had nothing to do with the late Ijaku's funeral. Secondly, there's also no evidence that the policemen who attended the funeral of their colleagues, as seen in that video, were even involved in either the police operation at Ayawaso West Wogon or the SWAT operation at the residence of the NDC candidate in that by-election. Mr. Mahama's presentation to the diplomats of that video as evidence of a said MPP vigilante group involved in the Ayawaso West Wogon incidents are therefore false and should be treated as such. The family of Mr. Jaku has even had cause to deny this, and the government will formally bring this to the attention of the diplomatic community that that is not true and must be noted as an untruth. Now, the second video is another video of a convoy of vehicles, and it was shown to them by Mr. Mahama with a claim that, again, that was a convoy of the MPP candidate in the election, Madam Lydia Al-Hassan, being escorted by the police as well as MPP vigilante men. That is also another falsehood. Indeed, on that day, Madam Al-Hassan did not travel in a security convoy. She moved about in the company of Mrs. Esla Ofosu and Deputy Information Minister, Mr. Payasenam Hajide. That video is also false and should be disregarded. The third video, which is the video of a legitimate media house, forms part of the subjects that are currently before a presidential commission of inquiry. Again, in that video, Mr. Mahama suggests that it signifies violence at a polling station perpetrated by MPP vigilante men. First, this is unfortunate as an act of a former president of the Republic, as it is prejudicial to the work of the committee. As one who has occupied the highest office of the land, it is unthinkable that he will make pronouncements that seek to prejudice or undermine the work of a fact-finding committee at a meeting where he has invited diplomats to attend. We do not believe that in the various countries where these diplomats come from, this prejudicial conduct aimed at undermining the work of a presidential commission of inquiry will be countenanced, and it ought not to be countenanced here as well. Second, in the evidence adduced both by the police and the Electoral Commission at the ongoing commission and seen live on TV by the general public, there is no suggestion of violence at any polling station. So if the former president has any information to the contrary, government believes that the best thing to do is to bring this to the attention of the commission or the fact-finding inquiry that is ongoing, failing which would kindly encourage him to do the honorable act of withdrawing and apologizing to the people of Ghana. The government takes a very dim view of Mr. Mahama's actions and is obliged to formally put the international community on notice. They were the target of these comments that he made. We have to formally put them on notice. And in the coming days, the Foreign Ministry will write to them to disregard the falsehoods told them. Ghana, colleagues, is regaining its place in the international community of nations, and her government will not allow any person, for whatever parochial interest, to undercut our collective gains as a nation. That's the first brief I have for you. The second brief is that 6 newly created assemblies, and these assemblies were quite recently created, will be inaugurated simultaneously on Tuesday, the 19th of February 2019 at 10 a.m. The assemblies are the Kole Klote Assembly with a capital Ofosu, Ablekuma Central with a capital at Latebi Okoshi, Ayawaso Central Assembly with Kokomlemle as its capital, Achiase Assembly with Achiase as its capital, the Angloga District with Angloga as its capital, and the Northeast Gonja Assembly with Balibe as its capital. A number of ministers of state have been designated to conduct the inaugural ceremonies on behalf of His Excellency the President. It's the expectation of government that this will further deepen decentralization and development in these districts. That's the second brief I have for you this afternoon. Let me quickly take this in tree, and then I'll take your questions.
Well, frankly, I thought it was a bad decision, poorly communicated, but which is turning out to be a very good one. I'll explain. Bad decision because it gave an impression that the party didn't really prepare for what happened. It showed or gave an impression that we did not have foresight to expect that this would happen. When evidence is available to show that if you look through the track record of by-election, these things do happen. Maybe it's a level and way they carried it, that was a bit of a surprise, especially because it happened to be in the center of town, close to the military headquarters, close to the police headquarters, and close to even the seat of government. And I say poorly communicated decision because it came too early in the morning and too many executives didn't know, to the extent that by midday you still had executives and reps of party who weren't too sure whether indeed it was a party decision or not. And I'm told there was even a miscommunication between the chairman and then the national organizer at a point in time. It didn't speak well of us. It meant that it is not the kind of decision that have been well thought out, and I think that we should watch out. I say it's turning out to be a good decision, however, because per the results that came out, it showed it didn't vindicate the MPP. Again, good decision because through the withdrawal and the level of violence, gunshot wounds, the pictorial evidence, the spread of messages, the world at least know the extent to which the ruling government is willing to go to secure victory in an election. It's obvious that it is a party that is willing and ready to utilize violence to achieve its purpose. And it becomes even clearer because of the denial of the knowledge of who those people were by the police administration and people within the security agencies, forcing the minister in charge of their sector who answers directly to the president to acknowledge that these were his men. Again, if you look at the plethora of pictures of these people who were clearly party people, thugs, hoodlums who have been put into security attire, it became a problem for them how to manage it. Now, it's also put the NDC on the defensive, in the sense that this is a party that you can say is revolutionary. The perception is that we're more violent and whatnot, and we are the victims end. Clearly, the logical expectation is that the NDC will prepare very well, and it's a lesson and it's a notice to the NDC to over-prepare in terms of the final election, that is 2020. It's also good because the international community, the intelligence agency will pick all these things. And they now would have evidence of the fact that this is what this government did. 2020, when it happened, it would be difficult for them to point accusing fingers at the NDC. Again, they are in charge. And the expectation is that when you're in government, it is more of your duty to avoid these things. So when you are seen and you give enough evidence as of now to show that this is what you intend to do, you can never blame an opposition that prepares and meets you boot for boot. So I say yes, per my view, it was badly thought out, poorly communicated, but it turned out to be a very good decision. And therefore, it kind of